everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back today with another project for the Traveler's Notebook Online design team. I'm going to be making some little shakeout embellishments. So I'm going to be using this die cut set. This is the Studio Light Essentials stamp and die cut set. It's the Gears and Cogs design. I'm going to be using my Sizzix Big Shot manual die cutting machine and my Nuvo Golden Years confetti set. Those products all available from the Traveler's Notebook Online. Don't forget, you can get 10% off with my discount code. I'll leave the shop link and the discount code in the description box. From my own stash, I've pulled out, I have some adhesive foam here. I got this from Spotlight. It is just the sticky back foam and just a scrap piece I had. I have some scrap papers, just a few different colours that I pulled out of my scrap bin. Some girly colours and some more sort of masculine greens and wood grain. I don't have a specific layout that I'm making these for. I just sort of want to make some DIY embellishments to have in my stash. So I thought while I have the Big Shot on my desk, I'll just go ahead and make a bunch of them and get them into my stash. So I also have my big, my little container full of all different coloured sequins. So the confetti are really nice for little tiny shimmery sparkly bits, and I'll just put in a few of my own sequins for some bigger pieces. And I also have some tacky glue. This is just Bunnings brand tacky glue that I have put in my own bottle to make a bit of a finer tip application. You can get fine liner bottles, but I am cheap and I already had this, so let's go ahead and get started making these, hey? Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is cut my circles. So I'm pulling out a few, well, all of the dies, and I'm just deciding which ones will fit together nicely to make the right size that I want. So I'm putting down my base plate on top of my extended platform on my Sizzix, and I am just laying them out. I'm not sure which sizes I'm going to use yet. I try a few. Some end up being too thick. That one there ends up being way too thin, but the one to the far left is perfect, and as you'll see later, I come up with another one to use in the middle of the punch circles. So I'm just laying them on top of each other carefully and then running them through my Sizzix. And there we go. There's some circles, and I use the sort of scalloped shaped one, and that makes like a nice sort of scallop shape. And then I've discovered this little, it's actually a gear, but when I place it in the middle of some of those punch circles and run that through, it makes a really pretty shape. So I'm just running that through. I'm using my extended platform and the two acrylic sandwich plates. Okay. So I'm going to do that on quite a few. I end up with quite a few circles, more than I really needed, but they make good embellishments on their own. So there we go. Lots. So next thing I'm going to do is take my adhesive foam, and I'm just cutting out some very thin strips. Now I use pink because that's what I had. If you have white, that's probably better because you won't see it as much, or just a colour that matches your papers as close as possible. It doesn't really matter. You can only really see it if you look closely and if you sort of tilt them to the side and if you're looking for it. So I've just gone through and cut quite a few of those thin strips. And now I have some acetate. This is actually a piece of packaging that I have of some embellishments. So I'm going to reuse that because why not? And it was free. So I'm just using some tacky glue, and I am gluing down my little circle on top of that acetate, and then I'm just using my scissors to cut that out just like that. So you can do it this way, or you can lay your circle on top of the acetate, take a pen or a pencil, trace around it, and then cut that out. And then you can glue your circles straight to that cut out acetate piece. I find this just an extra step because, as you can see, I had to go through and trim a little bit off anyway because I didn't cut it quite right the first time. So I find it easiest just to glue than cut, but it's really up to you. Okay, next I am going ahead and putting down my adhesive foam. So as you can see, I'm peeling it off as I go. I find this the easiest way to do it because you don't have a big long piece of sticky foam flipping around while you're trying to do it. I find it easiest to hold it like this in between both my hands and just sort of pinch it round in the circle. And then I'm carefully trimming because you want to make sure that you don't have any gaps, especially when you're using a small confetti like I'm going to use. If you leave any gaps, it is going to make a big mess. So again, as you can see, just peeling as I go and just curving it around that border. Careful trim. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of them. So there's all the ones that I'm going to make shakers out of. Now I'm choosing my backing paper. As you can see, if I use the original pattern, it's sort of, the dimension of it fades away. So what I'm going to do is use a contrasting color. So for the pink one here, I'm using a mint green. And I'm going to go ahead with my Nouveau Confetti, and I'm going to use some ice white circles and some of the mirror ball stars for this little mix. Those mirror ball stars are so bright and sparkly, you don't need many. So for sequins, I'm choosing some clear, some little white flowers, and some little peachy coloured sequins. Really love this little mix. Making two little piles because I have two of that pretty floral paper there. Just fussing with my piles. Now I'm taking my tacky glue and I'm just going all around the edge of that foam. Be very careful that you don't leave any gaps. Again, if you leave gaps, you'll have a mess. So I'm just making sure that the little piles of sequins are within the gluing edge. So I don't want to glue on top of my sequins because that might sort of leave a raised gap in the glue. And I don't want the shaker pockets to be too filled because it will sort of, they won't move around. So you want them to be filled enough so they don't all sink to the bottom and be invisible, but not so filled that they won't move. Okay, on to the next one. I'm using the gold hexagons. So shiny. I love this confetti set. I've used it quite a few times and I barely made a dent. They go really far. Okay, for sequins, I am popping in a few little gold holographic sequins, and these are some little mint flowers and some white ones. So that's a little flower mix that comes with white, silver, mint green, and pink. Okay, for the wood grain, I am going to use the ice white circles and the mirror ball stars again. I think some little white flowers, some little silver holographic, and these ones are really pretty. They're very metallic silver, but they've got a slight lavender tone to them. They're very, very pretty. Okay, there we go. I love those ones. Now this one, I have decided to go ahead and use this sort of typewriter craft coloured background, and this paper is a Christmas paper, the mint and sort of red stars on it. So I'm going ahead and doing a bit of a Christmas theme. So I've got the rose gold squares, the gold hexagons, some holographic gold sequins, some little red stars, and some sort of bigger, darker teal sequins. Okay, for the pink, I wanted to go for a bit of a sort of silver and, well, pink and gold. So I'm using the ice white circles and the gold hexagons, some white flowers and some pink and hollow gold sequins. So pretty and sparkly. So there's lots of different color combinations you can come up with, as you can see. Okay, I decided to use white for the background of these ones because there's white in the little arrows. So ice white circles and mirror ball stars again. Then I'm choosing some mint green and pink flowers from this set. And some silver hollow little sequins, and that's done. So as you can see, they come together really quickly once you've sort of got a bit of an assembly line going, and it's definitely worth sitting down and making a bunch of these at once. So now I'm just, once they're fully dry, make sure they're fully dry, let them sit for a couple of hours. Go through and trim off the backing paper, really simple. So you're just using that foam as a guide. So don't cut into the foam, just sort of butt your scissors up against it and trim them out. So pretty and sparkly. So I'm just going to whiz through and cut all those out. I love how these turned out. I'm really happy, and because I made a bunch, I can stick these in my stash and pull them out whenever I need to have a pretty sparkly embellishment for my scrapbook layouts. These are also awesome to stick to paper clips and use as page markers in your book or your planner. And they're really beautiful little decorative paper clips. You just need a little bit of hot glue on the back and a paper clip, and I usually just pop a little gem on top of that. So here come the close-ups. I really hope you enjoyed joining me today. Don't forget to check out the Traveler's Notebook online and and use that coupon code for 10% off. All the links are in the description. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.